What's up, everybody? Today on the channel we're in St. Louis, Missouri, and we are driving the 2026 Honda Accord Hybrid EXL. Yeah, so I spent the last couple days in this car and I'm pleasantly surprised in some ways and a little disappointed in some others, and we will get to that. Before we get out on the road, I do want to say we're going to be checking out the St. Louis Arch today, which is pretty cool. I haven't seen it up close in person. I only saw it from my plane, so let's go see it together. Anyways, some quick stats on this car. We have a naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder making 204 horsepower, 247 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to a small hybrid system. It's about a 1.2 kilowatt-hour battery. But it really just serves as a torque filler, and no spoiler alerts here, but it actually a very good one. And yeah, so we have a CVT transmission, front wheel drive, but let's go take a quick walk around and see what this thing is about. So this is the 11th generation Honda Accord, and I just have to say it, this car is not as good looking as the 10th generation, definitely not as desirable, and it has shown through its sales, frankly. But we still have nice LED daytime running lights up front, these 17-inch gray wheels, which give you a little bit more meat on those tires, allowing for a better ride quality. And these only come on the EXL Hybrid that we have here today. And it pairs pretty interestingly with this also gray exterior color, making for a fairly boring car, especially with the new toned down styling. But my favorite part of the styling of the new Accord are these taillights. I think they look very nice. And then the back here, we have a button to open the trunk. Plenty of space back there. I have my luggage, getting back there no problem. And we also have a handle to close it from the inside so you don't have to touch the trunk lid. So we have leather throughout this entire interior, and these back seats are quite comfortable. We have tons of room sitting behind the driver or the passenger, no problems there. We have USB-C charging down here, vents, little cubbies. And then on the right-hand side, we have a little cubby here, and then a little coin tray, and then just your standard 2 cup holder solution. But one of the ways I've been disappointed with this car is, you get in and it's like, wow, this is a very nice interior. You have this gorgeous HVAC system design. You have nice materials throughout, but surface level, things look nice. We have a leather-wrapped steering wheel. However, I've noticed that the interior, like even just a slight push of my knee, I'm really not putting much pressure. It moves this entire door card. Just pretty crazy. And then on this side, you can wiggle like the whole infotainment stack. And I have never really noticed that in any other car that I've driven in this price point. And so that's a little disappointing. Maybe they could have put some harder materials or some reinforcement behind that plastic. But yeah, needless to say, I feel like this interior is not going to hold up over the test of time. But let's get out on the road and show you this powertrain because I'm really excited about it. We, of course, just have a standard 2-liter 4-cylinder, but it's paired to this hybrid system, which gets you about 48 miles per gallon combined. Very impressive stuff. And we have a couple drive modes to cover, which includes sport mode. And sport mode has been very exciting for me, and I'll show you why in a couple minutes. We have individual, normal, and then eco. I really just spent most of my time in normal and then some time in sport mode as well. Really haven't touched eco, really haven't touched individual, but let's get going, guys. So the paddle shifters on our wheel don't serve as shifting. And of course with the CVT, you don't have gears anyway, but a lot of manufacturers will do like the simulated shifting on CVTs. And I'm not sure who actually uses that because frankly, they're never really all that good. But with these paddle shifters, you're actually controlling the resistance and therefore kind of your regen that this battery has. And so at full plus, honestly, like it's not that much like drag that you get in the car. So I've just left it on full blast. In normal mode, this car is very quiet. right? Like you get on the throttle, you do hear some noise coming from that 4-cylinder, but popping it into sport mode, you actually get this augmented sound, which is really interesting. At first I was like, it kind of sounds like a Dyson vacuum cleaner, but then I'm like, it also kind of sounds like a sport bike, and I like it. It's funny, last week I reviewed the G35 series, and I was in the 540i, which has the B58, and my biggest criticism was that car doesn't sound all that good. Really just in terms of like, there's so much sound deadening, and then there's just not a great exhaust note that you can hear in the car. And I just was really pushing for an augmented, like piped in sound. And it's funny because the very next car I drive has that. The reason why I think it's such a good thing is because a lot of enthusiasts, like they might have a daily driver and they want it to still have like some sort of nice sound that when you get on the throttle, you enjoy it. And you might not want that to be forecasted to the world in terms of like a really loud exhaust setup. So making it so you have an augmented sound in the interior, and maybe you still have like some exhaust note on the exterior, but you're not like waking up your neighbors every morning. I feel like that's a good solution. It's a good middle ground. So this interior is still very nice. We have this 12-inch infotainment screen with touch capabilities there. Of course, we have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It hooked up seamlessly, only took a few seconds, and it's connected every time I've gotten in the car with no issues whatsoever. And then we also have a digital gauge cluster, which I do like. I found it weird that on the left-hand side we have a power percentage gauge. So instead of like a traditional tachometer, that's what you get instead. It's kind of odd, but it's not really something to criticize. Overall space in this front seat is pretty good. This infotainment stack does kind of cut into my legroom a little bit, and then on the left-hand side, the door switch controls also do the same thing. But still, ample amounts of legroom, especially for a mid-size sedan. Above us, we have this nice sunroof. Opens up two ways, of course. And then just overall, we have really nice visibility, blind spot monitoring, of course, parking sensors in the front and the back, decent quality backup camera as well. Really all the bells and whistles that you would need. Dual climate up here in the front works really well. I will say when you're parked, the car will automatically switch from EV mode to gas mode like over and over and over, which is kind of weird because it like jolts alive every time. And so if you're just sitting there in your car for a few minutes, you'll hear that cycle, and it's like, why? I don't know. It's like, I feel like if you're parked, the car, and especially when it's hot out, like it's been pretty much 100 degrees every day I've been here in St. Louis. And so it's like, why not just keep the gas engine going so the air stays cool? Whenever it's in full EV mode, I feel like it's just not all the way. Like the AC is just struggling to kind of keep up with that. Ride quality on the highway is good. Ride's nice and smooth. We have ample amounts of sound editing. And I think what really helps this car is these 17-inch wheels. Don't opt for the bigger rims, people. I feel like the 17s are quite nice. They're good looking enough, and they also give you these meaty tires. And so you have lots of, tire profile on there to absorb these bumps. And then these seats are really comfortable. They're leather, and they have all the electronic adjustments you need, such as lumbar and like the, forward, back, up and down type of thing. I can get pretty low in this car, though I will say it's not as low of a driving position as I'd like it to be, but it's not a sports car, so, this would still serve as a very nice daily driver for someone, especially with the fuel economy. And so, although I really think that the 11th generation Accord we have here today, it's a nice car. Pretty decent amount of stuff for the money too. And you have this powertrain that's a little bit fun with the sport mode and the augmented sound. And then you can also just kind of throw it into normal or eco and basically just forget you have an engine altogether. I think it's a great solution for someone who's looking for a comfortable daily driver. I do worry about the interior quality over time, especially with stuff already flexing. It's a brand new car with 5,000 miles on it. But I think this powertrain is going to hold up over the test of time. Of course, Honda has been known for making good hybrid systems, and so I think this is a very strong competitor, especially with the Toyota Camry Hybrid, which I haven't reviewed, but I've heard very good things about. As far as the audio system goes, these speakers rock. I don't even know what they are. They don't have any sort of name on them, but they're great. I mean, they have ample amounts of bass. I've been able to play my Dance Gavin Dance no problem, sitting in my car eating a protein Pop-Tart, the brown sugar type. Really good, by the way. It's 400 calories and you only get 10 grams of protein, but they're delicious, I really have to say. I still think eating a regular Pop-Tart is the move. Like, you're not going to get good macros in terms of a 10 gram to 400 calorie, protein to calorie intake equation there. But at the very least, like, it tasted good. It tasted just like the brown sugar Pop-Tarts that, come standard, right, without the protein. And no, I mean, this wasn't meant to serve as a protein Pop-Tart review, but I guess it could serve that way too. Definitely check those out if you haven't already. I feel like it's a nice go-to. I wouldn't call it a snack because 400 calories is a lot, but I guess if you're eating one of the two, that's only 200 calories, but then you're only getting 5 grams of protein. Darn. So what else to talk about here? We have 2 USB-Cs up front. We don't have USB-As anymore, and I think that's kind of what's happening with new cars, is they're getting rid of the USB-As because those are kind of being outdated and replaced by the USB-Cs. But we also have this wireless charging pad, which I've found that it doesn't charge the phone all that fast. It'll kind of just maintain the battery percentage you're at, especially if you have like navigation going and whatnot. But it doesn't slide, like your phone doesn't slide on the pad. It doesn't get disconnected, which I think is a fairly good standard to have for charging pads right now, because a lot of the early ones, it's like your phone gets thrown everywhere, it disconnects and connects, and sometimes like some of them you'll even have to take your case off, which is a little annoying. This one is completely fine. This car also has a full EV mode, which only lasts 1 second, which only lasts about 1 to 2 miles in full EV range, but it's good to get you out of a parking lot, or if like you don't want to wake up your neighbors. Not that this thing is very loud, but it's nice to be able to just start it in full EV mode, drive down the street, and then, fully start the car. I guess that would be the main purpose. But all in all, this Honda Accord wouldn't be my choice of vehicle. I feel like the Camry is a much better looking car. And then you also have like the Hyundai Sonata, which I think is also more appealing. Though, Honda has great reliability records, but so does Toyota. So it's like between those two, I might recommend people choose the Toyota Camry Hybrid. But this is a nice car. I feel like you get a lot of options in it, especially for the money. And, besides the concerns that I have with interior quality holding up over time, I do think that the powertrain isn't going to be a concern for people. I think the powertrain is going to be pretty easy to maintain over time. But see, here is our arch, looking quite fancy. Looks a lot bigger than it did from the plane, I will say. I'll attach the photo here. On the plane, I was like, it kind of looks small. But no, I mean, I was also, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 feet in the air. But wow, yeah, the archway is pretty cool. I'm glad we got to see it together. I'm trying to speed up so we can get it on camera here, even though I have a stoplight. Pretty cool. What do you say, guys? Glad we got to see it together. But anyways, yeah, I think that's really all I have for the Honda Accord 11th generation car. It was pretty cool to spend a couple days in it. I think this serves as a really great rental car. Very high quality materials. Lots of, stuff in this interior, such as the heated seats, electronic adjustments for the seats, the parking sensors, blind spot monitoring, wireless Apple CarPlay, beautiful infotainment screen. I think overall this car has a lot to offer. Anyways, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.